Manele kralje pavik vinge karje ile akale ye ele ye ele yo ina lahi palahi luli kikaye kumaka ele 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 kianu yarina ya eke kinu e olama hamokuma wa yole wa ele ya e e o imai no
Kalunda buoni oni keanaina kawakine kie kaya ulu hine kapu noho na papala uai maika ikayo puna onea kai o malama i ke kanaka ahe puala aole aina mai ka inoa ua ka pua hiiaka
Ni kamalikala eu ele ele lá e o ai o que ai lá kapapa o ai o kawaiki lá e ele não que por aquela lá mas o kamai mai vai que eu lá cai mai For the next few minutes, I would like to have you just close your eyes, clear your mind, and think of literally nothing. Just sit and relax. What I will do as we sit here, as I'm going to go through, I need to have you open so I can go in and touch each one of your spirits and share with you my mana.
Ella. Koholo. Owehe. Koholo. Tummy right. Left. Right. Left. Bend. Koholo. Leliwehe. Bend. Go straight across. No bouncing.
The left,
Pardon?
is there left? I'm sorry.
No legs. Okay. Elbows up, arms together, fingers together. Koholo. O. Stay down, do not go up and down. Straight across. Take a paw. 1, 2, 3, paw. 1, 2, 3, paw.
Not paying attention.
Carvel. Continue. So you guys need to take a paw. Paw. Kaholo. Oniu, figure 8. Kaholo. Amikuku.
Up, up, up and down.
Down.
Down and up. Up, up and down. Down, down and up. Up, up and down. Down, down and up. Up, up, down. Down, down, up.
Kaholo. Oniu kuku. Down, down, up. Down.
No. All of them. Okay, check it out. We're going to do a few more. My students do this for 15, 20 minutes every class, okay? Now, what? And they're in good condition. Good. Let me tell you some of the things that we teach, and you can take it for what it's worth. Okay. However, I have my initial kumu was Auntie Nona Beamer. When I started with Auntie Nona Beamer, she did a lot of rotation of the heels, and that's how Auntie Nona danced. And I do not do that anymore because from Auntie Nona I went to Auntie Cody, and Auntie Cody was teaching flat-footed hula. Okay. And then, because we had moved, Auntie Nona actually was the one that moved first, and then we moved after that. And then I went to, I don't know how many of you know Bella Richards. Of all my kumus, I think Auntie Bella Richards was probably the meanest that I've ever had. I mean, she had a long stick, and your feet were so thick and whack right there. And it hurt. Or she will take a slipper and throw it at you looking someplace else, and she always did. And if you duck, she throw it again. So you have to just sit in it. And that was the old style of teaching hula. Most of our kumu that taught that way, there are a few that teach that way still today, have gone on. We're trying to teach now an enhanced version of the we're not quite so mean. But there are some things that are taught that different people teach, and some people just do not consciously think of. One of the things that all of you need to remember is that the Hawaiians believed that everything was done in a circular motion. Everything had a continuum. Nothing cut off at the end. They also believed in the hula that there was a focal point of your body. And for all of you, your focal point is right in the middle of your chest. That is your focal point. Therefore, if this is going to be your focal point, where should your hand be? The hand should be right at the focal point. And so this is how we teach our haumana. The other thing is, I come from the old school of Wehe. This is for your information, because today they open up so that the semi can go underneath. In the olden days, we never did. The Wehe was done step, uwehe, step, uwehe, step, uwehe, step. This is the old style of doing it. They don't do it that way anymore. Now they open up so that the semi can go underneath, you know. And when Uncle George teaches, if you open, he gets upset. We did a seminar and we invited Uncle George to come where we were, and some ladies opened, and he just went on and on and on and on why you shouldn't open. So, my students don't open. I've never taught open because I was not taught open. Open is kind of a more modern thing, but the old style is good. And he said if you can see your pa'u go forward like that, you know you're doing it right. If your pa'u doesn't go forward, and that's a lot, depending on the judge now. If you're doing judging, if you have a judge that did the old style, this is wrong, and they will knock you down for it. So to be safe, if you did the traditional style, no matter who the judge was, they won't knock you down on the way when it comes to footsteps. Usually there are 10 points that they use. We're doing competition instructions here because Hawaii Mapuna was indicating that next year they want to have kahiko. And I told them that if they do, I will come and judge. If I come and judge, and when truck's going to go between, guess what? Okay? Only because we are trying to get, in fact, I had some students come to me from a halau in Honolulu. I'm not even going to mention halau. And they came to Salt Lake City and they started taking hula from me. They went home to Hawaii and they came back and told me, they all call me uncle. They said, gee, uncle, you're real old-fashioned. I said, thank you. That's what I want to hear. We old. We don't care about the new stuff. We old. And if people are tired of being old, then they're not doing it right. And so we appreciated that. Okay, so your hands, Uncle George has always taught us, 0 degrees. Put your hands there. Not up, not down, not back. Right there. And if you put it there, it makes for a very, very graceful, especially when you're doing hula kahiko. Makes for a very, very graceful movement. Even though you don't necessarily, I do not move my fingers on kahiko. I do on awana, but I do not move my fingers on kahiko because kahiko traditionally was what kind of dance? Male dance. And the men don't do that. So we keep in the tradition of just using the hands. Another thing that I noticed is A lot of you have a lot of visitors. Okay? We call them the drop-ins. Okay? We like to keep ours straight across when you're doing it. Okay? Instead of having visitors all the time. And we call this the drop-in. Okay? So if you keep it out and move your hands straight above your body, you have a really nice flow. And in competition, if you have drop-ins, you have 5 different drop-ins by the ripples, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you guys just will knock them down. Because drop-ins are not easy to get synced. You cannot sync drop-ins. I mean, nobody. You can have a line of 50 women, and when you say drop-in, every hand will come down different and hit this point different. But if you keep your hand there without doing your drop-in, you don't have to worry. It eliminates a problem. And that's what we're trying to do, is eliminate some of the problems. So that when you do go to competition, you ladies will probably be competing against each other. But when you do these kinds of competitions, you eliminate the problem before it even begins. Then you don't have to worry. You can feel safe that group's not going to look better than this group. And the object of competition is not to be better than someone else. The Hawaiians never competed in that direction to be better. The only people that were permitted to compete were who? Anybody know? The Ali'i. The Ali'i were the only ones that were permitted to compete. What did they compete? They grabbed the tea leaf and they went on the mountain, they sat on it, and they slid right down into the ocean. Or they would compete konani. See, us lay people couldn't compete. I mean, hello, there was an Ali'i thing to compete. And so we did not have the right to compete, but the Ali'i never competed the hula. So therefore, when we're competing as commoners. Therefore, we have to show respect to what we are doing and where it's coming from. And that's coming from Ana'au, and it is shared with people. So, the drop-in, another thing that is really vital, and the judges will stop you, is the hula is a 4-step movement, not 3. Because if you're going to do your cabello and you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, you missed a step. Because you have to do a pa and a step. If you don't have the pa and the step, they'll stop you that quick. Okay? You have to have a pa because the hula is a 4-step movement, not 3. And I don't know how you can count 4 by doing 1, 2, 3, 4. That doesn't count to me. It counts only as 3. So you have to take your pa and 1. Now, the other thing, Hawaiians dance straight forward. Both feet are straight forward. We do not have, this is, most of the people that dance this were Tahitian people because they used to push shifting of hips. Hawaiians are flat-footed. That's why all of us get flat feet. And they dance with both feet straight forward. A good rule of thumb, 6 inches between your feet, men 10, women 6. Otherwise, you're going to look like a tackle on the LA Rams. Why do you want to look like a tackle on the LA Rams? You don't. You want to look like a lady. Getting up there being very, very graceful. So when you're doing your step, I have developed some really bad habits. Auntie Nona used to really get after us dancing wide apart on our feet. But if you have it 6 inches apart, and if you just take, you're going 6, and when you take, we'll 50 more. 1, 2, 3, see how it flows. And then the other thing is when you bend your knees, okay? Today when you see modern hula, they're doing this. Why? Because their knee's not bent. So they got to get the hip in the air. Oh, wait. What? If you bend your knees and you move your hip, you don't need to do nothing because it takes care of itself. And that's why we bend our knees. I have a girl, a woman that, she used to dance with me 5'10". So she's tall. And all my other dancers are all short. And she said, that's not fair because I got to get all the way down. And she does. She dances, and when you look at my students, you do not see one head over the other. Because we dance Noho'ilala. Aiha'a. You cannot do Aiha'a dancing up here. It's not going to get any place. Okay? Aiha'a. Okay? So I'm just giving you some basics. Does anybody have any questions on this? I'm just giving you some basics on how I've learned from several of the kumu that have taught me. And the only reason that I had so many, because my family kept moving, you know, as Hawaiians, we were gypsies, we kept moving from this place to the next place, and of course you're going to find a new teacher each time you move. But my teacher is Nona Beamer. In order for you to be considered a kumu, your kumu has to puka you. Okay. Now, for the longest time, Auntie Nona, I had to write her and say, Auntie, can I use this? Auntie, can I use this? And you know, and then when we went to Prince Lot, it was done in honor of her. She was the honorary chair for the Prince Lot, and we went up there and danced. When we got off stage, she announced to everybody, she said, okay, Ola, you can have anything of mine. You don't have to call. You can just use, because here I am bugging her. And you can use anything of mine. I could. And it was done, you know, I'm going. But see, prior to that, Uncle George Naofe said, she doesn't have to puka you. I can puka you. And I'm going, yeah, right, Uncle George. But he did it just because he felt that before I got to Auntie Nona, if I was going to compete, I needed to be a kumu. And so he pukaed me, we competed, and then we went back and worked with Auntie Nona, and then I was officially pukaed. This particular pahu is Lanakila named after George Naofe. He named it, and his mana is in the pahu, so I brought it with me. Mana is a very, very vital part for us as Hawaiian people. Mana comes from our na'au. We feel it, it's that thing. And when we give a name to a pahu, we put our mana in it. And when our mana is there, when you strike that pahu, that mana comes out. Okay, that's important. Now, the other thing that we're going to teach right now is the Velina step, and this is Anti'ida Kanaka Ole step. It takes a step to the right, one, and it points forward, and then you do a slight hop on it. It's a slight hop, okay? So, ready again, and 1 point hop. So it's point hop. Okay, it's 2 points.
And don't lift up your feet like that. Leave it where it's at.
Which one? The one that's pointing?
Yeah, when you go 1, 2, 3, don't lift it up. You're not trying to be a bird. Just
Okay.
Can everybody see that movement? Did everybody see that?
yeah, look at it. Or just do it forward. We can see it.
Oh, okay. It wasn't. All right. It's almost like a kui. Almost.
Yeah,
On your
'cause
heels.
it is similar to a kui, and they do a lot of kui. That family. Okay. Ready now.
Put your hands below your hip, belly, when you're doing this. And pinch your your pa'u up.
Okay, ladies, I don't know if you know that standardly, if your hand is on the side, you're always holding your pa'u. It's a standard movement. You do not just put your hand on the side. We will show you some of the movements we use in our halau to eliminate a straggling hand. Because if you have a straggling hand, the judges are going to say, okay, they didn't know what to do with the left hand, so they let it hang. We never hang our hands, ever. So if the hands are down, on this step, we're holding the pa'u. And we do that on purpose so that the judges think, oh, they know what they're doing. And that's just a matter of fooling them. But we don't. Guys, hands on hips, fit this. Hands on hips, fit this. Okay? Belly now. Good. And that's a very nice tip, and it has a nice touch. You can use it in hula kahikos, You can use it in hula awanas, but it has a nice touch because it gives a different. And the reason for it has a nice touch is because when we do the lele uwehe, we do not hop on it. And this is the only one that we hop on. We do not hop on anything else. See, when I was taught hula way back when, and if you guys wondering, Kawai Mapuna and I mean, we almost kupuna, we go back to Hawaii, we can get discounts. when you're older. Seasoned, as we call it. We're seasoned here. And I may not look that old, even though I am. But we do not do a lot of the things that you see on Merrimack tapes because ours is so traditionally old. People say, oh, we don't want to do that kind of stuff because it is old. But that's what we're trying to do is go back to basics. That's what this is all about in hula today. Going back to basics. Okay, the other thing we're going to do is teach you oi. When you do your vilina, do you aiha'a? Aiha'a. And so when the hop is done, you're still aiha'a. Yeah. You're not hopping up, you're down still. Okay? Now, the other thing that we're going to teach you is Auntie Lovey Apana's, her idea of hula aerobics. Okay? You need to spread your legs apart and flip back and forth, Stretching anti-lovey style, okay? So you're going to pull to the right one time and then pull to the left. So one leg is going to be, you're going to be leaning on one side.
Elbows up, arms up, 0 degrees. Switch. Don't go up and down. Just go straight across. Switch. Switch.
For those of you who have leg problems, don't worry about doing it. If you cannot. Your back needs to be straight, ladies, gentlemen. You need to pull your torso forward.
Okay, stay standard. Switch. Switch.
Okay, starting from you, she's going to start walking, and then we'll take the line around this room. We're going to do a duck walk around the room. So, okay, do what you can. That's fine. You cannot, you don't have to. I know that some of you...
Thank you.
All the young ones, however, you better be out there. Make a bigger circle.
Bigger.
Go out to the side.
My knee.
Okay. Ku'iluna, right where you are, I'm going to show you a different way to do the duck walk because all of you look like you're having some real problems with the duck walk. And this old man can get in there and do the duck walk without having any problems. When you do the duck walk, there's several ways people do it. One way they do it when they take their step, they trail their feet, okay? And you can hear the brush sometimes, okay? That is one way of doing it, and it is correct. But you cannot do this when you do the duck walk, okay? The duck walk has to be really smooth when you're doing it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I don't trail when I do it, but you have to stay down when you're doing the duck walk. That's the object of it. The knee rolls in on the inside when you're doing the duck walk. And let me tell you, if you do the duck walk correctly, it looks very, very nice. Can you do the back?
Roll.
Yeah. Okay, wait. The other thing that you need to do is learn how to do the roll. No. To do the roll, you need to tighten your stomach really tight and roll back. And almost touch the floor in that, okay? And then you have to go the opposite direction on that.
Okay, all the young ones, you should be able to do it. Go ahead, Mahuriwa. Okay. Your hands are going to be doing different things when you do that movement. So guess what? You tend to use your elbows to balance yourself, and you'll just have to learn to roll without it. Now, when you go back, you take your stomach and you hold it in really, really tight when you're doing it, and you roll, okay? Tighten your stomach. Your kikala has to be off of the floor, okay? So if you can do it and you want to do it, you're welcome to.
They're not together.
They're not together. And your feet need to be locked onto the floor wide open. No. Well, see how she has her feet?
They used to teach it too before when we do it. Somebody holding you.
Yeah, you can do it, but I tell you what the problem with somebody sitting there on the left is that's not where the power comes from.
Oh, I see.
The power comes from just being on the left has nothing to do with it. In the olden days, you say, oh, we hold your legs down.
Yeah.
But you know what? Holding the legs down is not where it's at.
Right.
In and out. So we just said, hey, why? Why are you wasting your time trying to hold somebody's leg down when you need to use this? You tighten it. You tighten it out. Really, really tight. And when you go back, it should, you know, and then coming back up. So we just, don't forget, does anybody have any questions? Killer, s'il vous plaît. Okay, you have 10 minutes for a Q&A, and then we're going to start with the hula. Question and answers. Anybody have any questions? Good, we'll go right into the hula. Does anybody need to take a break? I mean, this is your seminar. There's water over there. This is your seminar. Do not use black because black represents death, not ka'ahumanu. Question, can you use black underneath a color on top? No. Black is never used in a hula kahiko. Okay, kahiko. Yeah, not ever. And if you use black in a hula awana, they'll still talk to you because they're not interested in black. Because black is, for us as a people, black is negative. Black is negative. Red with pele. Okay, anytime you do a pele number, you have to have red. And I have seen people put black on the red for pele because they say, well, the volcano. You know, you cannot be creative in some of these, and so they dock people.
Question. I have a hula called Kapili Oha. It's going to use a black satin dress with lima lace. Is that permissible for awana?
It is permissible for awana, but how many times have you seen an all-black hula ku in a competition or hula move? How many times? Not ever. And why? Because they all know in Hawaii that they wear black and that judges are going to knock them. Now, I have seen them use black and yellow, black and white. They've taken and put one of the really unique styles of dresses that we have designed. I wish we would have brought some of ours, but we have so much of kind of already as it is. But it is the lobelia style of hula mu'u. How many of you know what lobelia is? Naupaka. The naupaka is the half flower. Okay. The naupaka kasai, naupaka kuhibi. He to the mountain, she to the sea. Okay? So, when we do some of our hula awana numbers, if they have any kind of lobelia in it, we take the garment from here, and the top half is one color, and the bottom half point is another color. Now, lobelias are white, lobelias are purple, lobelias are pink. If you do any other color, the judges are going to knock you. So you have to do all the research. You have to know what you're doing on this. Okay? Now, la'i is always on the top. La'i is never, ever, ever underneath the garment. It's always that very, very top piece. Always. Number one. Number two, when you're doing, okay, we were asking you the 5 different greens. The 5 different greens are Maile Lauli Ili, Pala'a, what else?
No.
Paliko, Palapalai, and what's the other one? No. We said Maile. The Iye. Very few very few people know what the Iye is. When you go up into the mountains, you have this long, it's a vine, it's a leech tree, and finally has long stems. And what they do is they strip it. And they use it.
What's the 5? We have Maile Liko, Palapalai, Iye.
Pala'a. The pala'a is a very, very lacy term. The palapalai is the strongest. That is the one. How many of you know the difference between the haku, the vili, and the ku? How many of you know those differences? What is haku?
Haku is when you mix and then you have to tie it on.
No. Haku never, ever has haku. Of course. No. Haku is braided the vili. The vili is when you take, this is the vili. It's when you take something else to lock in the, that's the vili. Okay. You're taking another piece. No. Well, you know why it's a misnomer? People in Hawaii are not smart enough. They call this a haku. This is not a haku. A haku is when it is braided. Haku is braided. Thank you, Aro. Aro knows. And Aro some thank you. Haku is braided, really. And the kui is when you take and you needle and thread, and you take a flat piece. Usually they use a lauhala and they kui of the thing. And you know what? That's so time consuming, it's not even worth it. Unless you're going to keep that piece forever, never kui. Never kui. Not worth it. Really is the fastest way. Actually, haku is the fastest. I'm going to go home and I'm going to try to sneak some palai roots, and I'm going to try to send it to Hank because it'll grow here.
Yeah.
And so, do you have some?
I have some.
Yeah. Because you need to get these things going because they haku so nicely. And boy, the fronds all just stick out and when you put it on, it is beautiful. The laua'i, which is was only used because it is a strong green. The other thing that about the la'i, who knows the story behind the la'i? Why do we use the la'i? Anybody? Anybody? Who are the goddesses of the hula? Anybody know?
Laka.
Okay, Laka is the number one. She is the goddess of the hula. Who is the second one? No? No? How many of you know the entrance? Ho'opuka ekala makalikina. Okay? Ho'opuka ekala. Let's go through it. Ho'opuka ekala makalikina. Meka huaka ihele no kumukahi ha'amaina iwame iaka. Meka poholaka. Meka poholaka. Kapo is Laka's sister. So you folks didn't know what you were doing when you were doing the Ho'opuka ekala, right? Because you're saying, talking about Kapo. Kapo, what's Kapo? Kapo is Laka's sister. And when you see a really, a hula, how many of you know what a hula ma'i is? Okay, not what you guys thinking. Not what you guys thinking. I can read your mind. A hula ma'i, when a halau is not necessarily competing, but when you're doing a ho'ike, a hula ma'i is the last number. So let's go to format. Number one number that is always done as far as the hula is concerned is what?
The entrance.
Well, but what kind of hula? If you're doing several hulas, what is the first type of hula you would be doing? Okay, hula pahu. Why? Anybody know? The hula pahu is a religious hula. It comes to us from the temple. Therefore, if you do a hula ala papa and then come behind and do a hula pahu, hello, they're going to zap you. Hula pahus are always done first. Hula ala papa. Now, there are several kinds of hula pahu. Number one would be a hula pahu inoa. Number two would be hula pahu au makua. And number three would be hula pahu akua. And I never do the akua, ever. Because we don't live in that day and age. We don't need to worship Ku. We don't need to worship Kami. We don't need to worship Lono. Or Kanaloa. We don't need those worships. What we are interested in doing is the Inoa, the Almakuas. Who are the Almakuas? Anybody?
Family garden.
Okay, but who? Sharp. You have
Hon.
Hon. Okay, you have them all.
Bo'o.
I went to, I took my halau to Kealipekua. And I knew that they had honu there. And so I started to oli, started to chant. I called, and pretty soon there were 30 turtles in the bed, bouncing their head up and down. And my students looked at me, chills went through them, and they said, you know, Uncle Kumu, if we didn't see it, we wouldn't believe it. But here came all these. And that is one of our Ambokua. And here came all these turtles, and they said, and they swam, they stayed there as long as I was doing the oli, as long as I was walking in them, as long as I was telling them, thank you for allowing us to come and use the halo. Because we were at the air, we went in and we did the ho'okupu. Now, another thing that I need to talk to you folks about as far as ho'okupu is concerned, you do not gather and pick greens unless you leave a ho'okupu. Ever. What is a ho'okupu? I read Akumu's, in the Aloha magazine, when Akumu said that that's stupid for the Hawaiians to wrap the tea leaf in the rock and leave it at the heiau. I thought, where is this kumu coming from? Hello, we're not worshiping the rock. It's the lau that we are wrapping. The rock is to hold the lau in place. We're not worshiping the rock. It's the lau that we're showing appreciation for, the leaves. And I was insulted when that kumu, and this magazine went all over the world. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, these guys on drugs. Real bad. I mean, there's plenty of Takalolo in Hawaii, but because, you know, we never, ever, ever. I went and for each type of grain that you gather, you have to leave that in return. The best that you pick is what you leave. So we go to Hawaii. We gathered, we went up to the mountains and we gathered liko, we gathered maile, we gathered ie, and we gathered palapalai. What my students each, not one, each did is they made a little, they took and hakut the palapalai and put the liko inside, put the ie inside, and then took a tea leaf and put it on the rock, took a tea leaf, wrapped it around, and set it there. Always. Leave a hole. Never go away from gathering. Even here, you leave a hole. And then they're going to say, oh, somebody's practicing. But you need to know these things. You need to know these things, okay? Well, if it's in your own yard and you've grown it for that purpose, only pilikia. We're talking about going into nature. And you do not rape the forest. You take what you need and you leave. You go and you sporadically gather here, there, and everywhere. I mean, the Hawaiian people were very, very environmentally oriented. We never ever raped the forest. Any other questions? Any other things that you think we need to cover? I'm trying to give you folks as much information in the short time that we have because you're going to need it. You're going to have to reflect back on what we're doing so that you can...
You started with the order of the dancers and the hula pahu.
Oh, hula pahu was number one, then hula ala papa,
Now, there are all kinds of hula ala papas. My gosh. There's the hula uli uli, there's the hula puili, there's the hula ulili, there's the hula kala'au, and those are hula nohos. Okay? So we have the hula nohos. The hula nohos include the hula kala'au, the hula ili ili. Then we go from that range into the hula ma'i. The hula ma'i are always the last hulas done in any kind of a piece of business. Now there is a hula ma'i in the book. For those of you who purchased the book, there is a hula ma'i in there. If you will read, there is not a definition. We will explain some of the things to you, but we will not explain all of it. Because the hula ma'i is a very, very private and personal type of a hula. But that is the final number. Whenever you end any kind of a seminar or anything, you do a hula ma'i. We're not doing a hula ma'i today or for this seminar for the mere reason that the seminar is not going to end. We have no, in order for you folks to be able to progress, you have to learn all of these other things, and the last thing that we teach. Now, in judging, when judges use judging a hula, the number one competition number that almost always inevitably wins is the hula noho. Anybody know why? The hula nohos are the most difficult hulas to do, number one. Number two, they were the original hula style. And we are going to do a hula noho today. In fact, we're going to do anything known as hula noho, keha'a lapuna. And that's why I asked you to sit that way, because that requires that you're doing it. We're learning that this afternoon. Why? And we're going to do oli oli this afternoon because by tomorrow morning, I expect you to memorize keha'a lapuna, and I expect you to memorize kunihikamani kala'i'e o wai ale ale. Before you enter the room tomorrow, you're going to have to oli oli. In one form or another. You cannot come in here without doing your oli. I did kunihikamani kala'i'e. Okay. In your book, look at I think it's page number 3. Go ahead and grab your book really quick. We'll go through that because I want you to, on your lunch break. No, give them one book so that you have something. Take a book of it again. Okay, now go to. That's not the one. It's page number 2. Page number 2. I lied. Sorry. Page number 3 was written for Orlando. I wrote page number 3 for you people here. It's a very simple and yet very meaningful. In fact, you know when I wrote this? The day before we came. I wrote one and I just was not satisfied with it. And I was sitting at the computer, all of a sudden all of the words came back. I just started typing really quickly so that I can get the main ideas, and then I finished it, put it together. So, kunihikamani kala'i'e o wai ale ale. Now, I need to have you put a enclosure from kunihi down to huki. Those first 3 lines, you need to enclose it. And let me do it for you. Everybody got your palapala? It goes. Kunihikamani kala'i'e o wai ale ale lai wai wo kiai la kapapa wai ko wai kini. All in one verse, one breath. No.
Can you come out and join us? We'll be there just a
Okay, so kunihikamani kala'i'e o wai ale ale lai wai wo kiai la kapapa wai ko wai kini. Like ale no kai pa kalula ma ko pa mai pa kaleo heo kai ma ye. Relax. Pardon? But this is one of the most exciting Oli. You know why? When you suck, and this is done in the EA style. EA is you drop your voice and it's all in the throat. And for us, most of us, it should be normal because we can't sing down here, so we put it right there. Okay? This chant is approximately 200, 300 years old. Let me tell you the story behind this chant. It is probably the most important part is when Hi'iaka was sent to retrieve Lohiau. Okay, she went into the water and turned herself into a fish, and then she swam over to Kauai. When she got to Kauai, now Lohiau had a kumu or a sweetheart, and so she went and only to call him, but guess what? There was no response. So this particular Oli, she did, after she tried calling him and there was no response because his wife or his kumu would not let her to come into the perimeters because she knew why Hi'iaka was there. So she kept silent. So Hi'iaka did this. This was written by Hi'iaka. Okay? Hi'iaka did this only